Got it. All right, welcome back, Butchered Sports fans, to all things calcio, all things football, soccer, foosball. This segment is dedicated to Serie A, and thank you again. Can't say enough to Roberto for following us. We talked last week about his favorite squad from Bergamo, Atalanta, the goddess, and their great finish last year that put him in the qualification for Champions League. And Roberto would be glad to talk to you this year about how their results keep them moving forward and follow the exciting story around Atalanta. But this week we have the opening week of Serie A, and before we get into the matches, I have with me today, as always, and for other segments, Patsy Zarilla and his son Nicholas Zarilla, and
me.
That's my son Dante. The 9-year-old comedian of the house. But last week we featured Atalanta. This week we're going to feature your favorite side, Inter Milan.
And mine.
Switched over.
See how easy it goes once they turn, huh? I love Inter Milan. I do. I absolutely love Inter. I love everything about Inter. I love their history. I love their colors.
Even though you graduated from a high school that was red and black, and your son goes to a high school that went to the high school that featured red and black, black and red.
Yeah, well, we were first. They came after. I love the history. They Inter up until this season, for the last few seasons, has had one of my favorite players in soccer. Right. I love Icardi, like you wouldn't believe. Like one of the last true number 9s in the world, right? Couldn't break into Argentina's national team.
Well,
He did that himself.
There's a backstory there.
Well, there's a whole lot of reasons for that.
Yeah.
And all of them legit. Unfortunately, none of them had anything to do with what he was able to do on the pitch,
Right.
which is unfortunate.
The story of his life.
The story of his life. Yes.
Yeah.
He's out now. Right now he's in limbo. God knows where he's going to show up. There's a whole lot of talk. If you listen to Sirius XM, the football show in the morning, Charlie Stillitato talked about how Icardi does not want to leave the city of Milan. So he's very open to going over to the other side and playing for AC Milan. I'll be honest, that really wouldn't bother me too much. It's not like a United City type thing, with that kind of history for me. For the most part, I don't mind AC Milan if they're just not in her.
I think the matchup's going to get a little more heated, though, over the next couple
I would think so too. Both sides they play in what could be arguably the best named stadium in the world. Right, the San Siro, which is just
AC is the best.
But they Inter lost Icardi for legitimate reasons that he brought upon himself again. They're trying to replace him because, like we always said, I think we said a couple segments ago, right? It's not what you lose, it's who you replace him with. And they ended up getting Romelu Lukaku from United. They was it the transfer? They didn't get him on a free.
No, it was on transfer.
It was a transfer, right?
I think 78, 75 or 75 or 78.
Something like that. So it was pretty decent.
So, yeah.
It was pretty decent. That's probably a good thing for both sides, right?
I think it was a great deal for United.
Yeah, I think it was a great deal for United, but it didn't break the bank for Inter, though. So, no, they're a champion. So they can afford that.
Yeah, when he comes up with 4 goals this next season.
Well, yeah, there's that problem too. I'm gonna argue with a whole lot of hope and a whole lot from my heart, not necessarily my head, that he better have more goals for Inter than Coutinho had for Barca.
Yeah.
How's that? If that happens, I'm going to be pretty happy. Over the course of the first season, he's probably going to go to the tank after that. But the change of scenery might do Lukaku good. I'm still not. Well, I didn't like what's his name, who was their manager last year.
At Inter.
Enters, yeah. Having
well, they got Conte.
They got Conte now, which is going to be big. That's going to be huge. Let's be honest. Conte's won everywhere he's won.
Yeah.
Right, even in the Premier League, he won.
Yeah.
So I have really high expectations for Inter doing well this year. I'm not saying, excuse me, I'm not saying that they're that Juve's in any danger. Not by any means. They're the class of Serie A. Let's be honest. But I could see that. I think they're gonna do better than Roma, because I think Roma took a bunch of steps backwards.
Over the last few years, yeah.
Napoli's gonna be really good. But I could see Inter. I don't know if we said it last week or not. Probably a third finish, possibly a second if God loves them that day, or that this year. But I could see Inter finishing third. Of course, nobody's going to catch Juve. It's going to be a good year for City out if Juve doesn't win the league before Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that last week. That their depth and quality, and the quality in the depth at every position is just
it's ridiculous.
It's just far and away the best squad there. I do think that they'll be pushed beyond Christmas, but I don't think that ultimately, you're going to see tension in the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
Let's give a number. My birthday is March 20th. So does Juve win the league before or after my birthday?
Are you saying mathematically or in all?
In all likelihood. No, mathematically it'll be later. But let's just say it for all intents and purposes.
I'll say before. I'll say as early as the first week in March that it'll be that all intents and purposes you'll know they won it.
Yeah. So before the transfer window ends.
In January.
Okay, forget that.
No,
we'll say by March 1st. Okay, you guys both say they'll have it before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, just to be different, I'll say after.
Dante.
Okay.
Does Juventus wrap up the league? Not mathematically, but like everybody and their brother knows Juventus is going to win the league by March 20th, before March 20th or after March 20th?
First day of spring, before or after?
The season ends usually at the end of May, so that's about 2 months before the season ends.
I'd say before.
Before. Yeah, you know what?
Not because of Ronaldo, because of all the other good players. Ronaldo sucks, and he always has.
Hey, you know what? I'm a messy thing. I'm sorry. I should tell him, oh, you shouldn't say that, but God bless you guys. Straight to hell.
I certainly wouldn't go that far. I'm not a fan necessarily, but I recognize the talent. So
yeah, not a fan of either player.
I like I said, I have very high hopes, and I have very high expectations and almost and higher hopes for Inter than I think I've had in the last few years.
I think that they have in Conte somebody who can work some miracles with them. Not that they need miracles, but they've been a side that has at times been lackluster.
Yeah.
I won't say they underachieved because
I think maybe
fourth place may be an underachievement for this squad, but they've been lackluster at times. You watched them in games and just said, "What is going on?
What's going on?" Right, and
Yeah.
that was the thing. I think maybe as far as their total points and their place in the table, maybe you're right. But whenever you watch them play, you would sit there and say, "This is a side that's not playing up to its full potential."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this year with Conte, he'll, I think he's going to get the most out of them, and we'll see. Maybe a second or third place finish. You see who I'm representing. If you listen to me on anything over the course of the time I've been online, whether through Butchered Sports or through any of the other podcasts, I've mentioned that I'm a Napoli fan.
Is this Butchered Sports?
This is Butchered Sports.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure. I thought you had a second sports channel.
Nope, but I'm a little concerned about Napoli because they didn't get James Rodriguez,
Right, that was big.
They didn't land anybody that really I think is going to be a big difference maker for their offense. You know, I respect and like Milik. I think he's a fine player. He's not a big difference maker. He's not somebody who's going to go out and win big games for you. Dries Mertens can get past people and make plays, and he's an exciting player. Love him, love his energy, love that he loves Napoli, love everything about him. But again, he's not going to dominate people week in and week out. He's not physically, capable of doing that. He's speedy and he's good on the ball, and he knows how to manage it. They got a great manager. They've got a great defense. They still kept their defense intact. But their major signing that they're looking to make at this point is Irving Lozano.
Yeah.
Good player.
Yeah.
But does he represent anything that they already don't have? Like in the sense of Calhoun.
Yeah.
Is he basically another Calhoun?
Yeah, he's very fast, has very little end product.
Yeah.
Very little finishing. Calhoun, yeah.
So, basically, as I look at Inter's chances, we talked about Atalanta last week. Atalanta is the team that, if they can hold up, as Roberto told us that they've been on this 3-year push, can they hold up physically? If they can, maybe that's the team that Inter really fights for that second spot.
And you know what? That's a good point. And I think we said last week too how Atalanta's really overlooked a lot, right? Napoli not so much because I think of the history, right? Both sides of Napoli, Milan. So they have an aura about them, even whenever they're not well, whenever they're not playing well. Like I said, both sides of Milan. Napoli, I had high hopes for Napoli like 3 or 4 years ago.
They had Higuain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
back whenever they had back in the Gonzalez.
When they had Higuain.
Yeah. And 2 years ago, they pushed till probably the last week or the next last week of the season. They were still right there.
Yeah.
Last season they faded earlier. They were still second place by over 10 points, about 10 points, but not last season, but the season before. They were neck and neck with Juve. They almost got them. Yeah. But I haven't seen them do anything to compete with them this year. And as we're talking about Inter, with adding Conte and to the mix of the already talented players they have, I think Inter's at this point, unless I see something different as the season develops, I think Inter's to me a better team.
I like Inter's midfield. I did.
Yeah.
I like Inter's midfield.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's good. I go, what's his name that I really like? With the goofy hair.
Nangolan. He
Nangolan.
left.
He left.
Yeah, he's with
left.
a smaller club now.
Yeah, his wife is battling cancer in that town, and he went there.
Is it
Oh,
Cagliari?
really?
Kelly, I believe
Cagliari,
so.
I
Yeah.
believe,
Oh, geez, I
Yeah,
didn't realize that.
Roger left.
He was one of my favorite players.
Great player.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? I'm not changing my mind. I still think that they're definitely a Champions League side. I see them as a third place finish. I think they have the opportunity for a second place finish. Let's put it that way. Whether they actually take advantage of that opportunity, I don't know. But I'm expecting. I have some expectations, and I think a lot of those expectations are simply because of Conte. I really do.
Well, I think that breakdown is, to me, it's realistic. I don't see them finishing outside of the top 4. I see them battling for a second place finish. I want to be surprised. I want to see some drama. I hope that happens. As we sit here today, as we sat here last week and started thinking about the season, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see a Juve champion again with a straight to.
Yeah, I do too.
But we may see some surprises in second, third, and fourth teams, or maybe the order that they finish. With that in mind, we have week 1 coming up. And stay tuned. I'm going to give everybody the odds for La Liga at the end of this segment. I found those for the upcoming week. But Serie A's opening week, we have starting on Saturday, correct?
Correct.
Saturday, the first 2 matches involve Parma versus Juve and Fiorentina versus Napoli. Both of those matches, because they involve who we talked about being the clear favorite for the championship in Juventus, and my favorite team, Napoli, and somebody who we talked about before we came on here in Fiorentina. who is kind of an enigma for Fiorentina. I'm interested in the results of both those. I mean, Juventus started off slow last year. Not slow in the sense of winning, but slow in the sense of just if you watch their games, they were slow to get goals, they were slow to develop, but they would always find a way to win. Parma is a side that is a low budget team. They can't compete spending wise with the likes of Juve.
No,
But they they're an Italian Serie A squad. They will come out and play hard in week one.
Yep.
They're at home. Do you see any of that first week kind of struggle to get over the top for Juve in that game? No. Not at all.
No.
Don't expect it at all.
No.
Not at all. The only thing I'm hoping for is they have to fight until some point in the second half.
Yeah, I think the home crowd will give Parma a jolt at the first part of the game. If they can get some shots on goal and maybe surprise the thing is, Juve is going to have more than likely either Buffon or Szczesny or Szczesny, in goal. And both of those are such quality keepers that they don't give up crap goals. They don't give up bad goals. So I agree with you. Juventus doesn't get challenged in this game. Fiorentina at home against Napoli. In the Italian country, there is pride in every community.
Mm-hmm.
There is a source of pride for every community that they always look to. In Napoli, our families are from southern Italy. Right? So Napoli is like New York City to us. It's like the hub of, you can say Rome is the capital, right? But Napoli is, that's where everything is, okay? That's where the pizza originated. Pizza Margherita came out of Napoli. We believe, that the energy around the country and the love and the dancing and the famous dances, the sauce, all the stuff that you think about when you think about traditional Italian food. It's not so much true in Italy, but around the world, we love Napoli.
Yes.
And Napoli, the team, there's such a strong passion around them. But surprisingly, Florence is the same way. Fiorentina, their fans travel well. They're at home. They're a very vocal fan base. They love their team. They had a miserable middle of the season last year. They really had such a weird patch.
Yeah, they really did.
But they've got some danger men on that team. They've got Chiesa, who can put the ball in net. They played well enough to survive that bad patch. And Napoli is just, they let scoring chances go by so much.
I know they have Ribery to deal with.
Yeah.
Fiorentina and Kevin Prince Boateng.
Yeah.
Who went there.
Boateng went there,
Who still has something left.
He does.
Both those guys still have something left. Do you see any danger here for Napoli opening on the road at Fiorentina?
Yeah, I do. I still think Napoli can win, probably will win the game, but it's kind of like Barca last week, right? It was like, they should win, but they'll be surprised.
Yeah, and about Florence, the local pride there is, in Italy, there's a belief, at least amongst the Florentines, the Florentine, is that the Italian language originated in Florence.
Yeah.
And that the way to really speak the right and proper Italian is to speak the Florentine way. The Romans will argue with you, no, that's the Roman way.
Yeah.
But the Florentines, they hold on to that, and they've got the culture with Dante Alighieri and Leonardo and Michelangelo and all of the people who studied and made their art in that region. And so there's a lot of pride in Florence, and the Fiorentina side is very passionate about their squad and wanting to hold up their banner. So it'll be an interesting fight there. Moving on to Sunday's games, Nick, your side is on the road, AC Milan against Udinese. Udinese is okay. They've got fair to Midland players as far as, no offense, but I mean, they've got players that have played okay in the Serie A, but they're not really, thought of as a very dangerous side. Being that they're at home, though, any concerns for AC Milan?
Yeah, Brady plays will lose.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, Fabio Brady is one of your starting midfielders. It's disgusting. You and Beckham, Kakar, or Fabio Brady. Well,
speaking like a true fan, I do not think that will be a problem for AC Milan either way, but I can see why people get concerned about that level play. Roma, who has taken a step back this year against Genoa, but Roma's at home. Genoa gave Juventus some problems last year, so they've shown flashes. I see that as a good match. I think it's maybe a draw. Roma at home, though, their fans are going to go crazy for the home opener. It might be enough to keep them to get them over the top. Cagliari, who has their new addition in Nainggolan, but Nainggolan's playing with a heavy heart. Nainggolan, Cagliari at home against Brescia. Hellas Verona against Bologna. Sampdoria, a nice side that has some offense, at home against Lazio.
That's going to be a good game.
That is a good match.
That's a good game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any guesses or thoughts as to who you think wins that game?
I'll take Sampdoria simply because they're home.
They're home.
I'll take Lazio with Immobile.
Yeah.
I'll take Lazio.
Wow.
Immobile is good.
Immobile is great. Ciro Immobile is, and he's playing in form. I mean, you've seen him over the international breaks, playing for Italy, the Italy side, and he's done really well.
He's done really well.
But I still think the home side. I'm going to go with Sampdoria because they still have some scoring threat up front, and they're at home. Spal against Atalanta. Atalanta on the road.
Wait, Spal is in Calcio.
Serie A, yep.
Serie A, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Atalanta on this side. I think they're just superior.
Oh, they won the last time against them. So I don't see Atlanta having a problem.
No.
I didn't know they were in Calcio at all.
Yeah, they've been there. They have not been relegated for a while. Spal's been up in the Serie A for a minute now. And the last game on Sunday, they do have a Monday game this week, by the way, which you'll be excited about.
Yeah.
But this last game scheduled on Sunday is Torino at home against Sassuolo.
Yeah.
Torino, they still have Bernardeschi. Bernardeschi, is he still their striker? Or I'm thinking about not Bernardeschi. Bernardeschi plays for Juve, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about
He's
who's the striker for Torino? Kind of a chestnut colored hair, blondish colored hair striker for them.
Oh, I know
Berardi?
who you're talking about.
Is it Berardi? This is him right here. That's the guy.
Oh.
Well,
Andrea Bellotti.
Bellotti.
Yeah, so they still have him, and he's a dangerous guy up front.
Yeah, he is. I can't remember the last time Sassuolo beat Torino. I think
And they're at home.
Torino won like 10 out of the last 12 or something like that against them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now home the season opener at home. I don't see it losing.
And you have Belotti, who he's just so balanced. He's
Mhm.
fast, he's strong, he's a good finisher, he's a good passer.
Yep.
I'd agree.
So, and then of course the Monday night game.
Yeah, which is going to be a blowout.
Well, Lecce just got promoted. They're not on par with the likes of Jamal. They're not going to compete with the top 7. You might see a surprise here or there, but they're not, as a general, going to compete with the top 7 in Serie A.
No, they're not. This is going to be a walk for
See, I actually think it'll be very close. It reminds me a lot of whenever David Moyes' Sunderland went up against Pep's first City team. It was the 2-1 loss for Sunderland.
Mm.
They only got like 6 points all season or something. And they lost 2-1 at the Etihad, and this reminds me a lot of that.
You think
I
this
think
is
it's
going to be
a
that kind
close
of
game.
calling back
It'll
to that?
win, but it's going to be close.
home game. Conte's first time with them. Lukaku's first time with them at the San Siro. No, this is going to be a walk.
I like Inter to win. I'm interested by your take and this calling back to the Sunderland game. So it's interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens, given that we've talked about how Inter sometimes is lackadaisical. But this will be a test for Conte. Will he be able to get them up for the likes of Legend? Will he be able to get them up for that? So with that said, we featured Atalanta the first week. We featured Inter the second week. Put in the comments if you'd like us to feature somebody in Serie A next week. We'd love to cover your squad. We'd love to break them down in depth for you. If we don't hear from anybody, we're going to pick somebody and we'll give you somebody. We'll let you know what's coming out. Give us a follow on Twitter, Butchered Sports. subscribe to this channel here if you like what you hear and see here. Hit the notifications bell so that you know when we post something. We're going to be posting every week around soccer, at least once a week. We break it down into 3 or 4 segments. Serie A season, I hope for some surprises this year. Not expecting any surprises other than maybe the 2nd through the 4th place finishing. But it's still going to be a good season, and we'll see things like we saw last year with the emergence of Duvan Zapata scoring 14 goals. I think we're going to and I think we're going to see somebody else come up and do something like that. You know, your Serie A players, in spite of the fact that it's a league that's hard to adjust to, you have players like the Bundesliga where you have emerging stars that come out of there.
So I think Piatek was one of the big ones from last season.
Yes.
He could really have a good year this year, and if he does, Milan can make top 4.
Well, is Cotrone still with them?
Wolves.
He went to Wolverhampton.
Yep.
Wow, that's a shame because I would like to see him and Piatek play.
So they're going after Correa and Pomez.
Okay.
To play as a number 10 behind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Angel Correa from Atleti is probably the most exciting one.
Yeah.
Love to see him.
Yeah, that would be good.
Well, before we go, a question. General question, Dante, also. Historically, Bundesliga has been an offensive
Yes.
league. City has been more of a defensive league.
Yes.
Has anything given any of you, all 3 of you, any reason to think that this season is going to be any different?
I think last year became more offensive for Serie A with Ronaldo.
Yeah, but it's overall, the league overall.
League overall? Yeah, I think that kind of started the trend. I think Serie A could be a little more aggressive this year than it used to be.
I think last year started that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it'll be interesting to see with the likes of Conte coming back to the league. What will his stamp be on Inter? Will he do something that's more counterattack? Will he do something that's more aggressive offensive style to adjust to what's looking like it might be a transitioning league? I think that you look at, you know, 2 years ago in the Champions League, teams from Serie A did well.
Yeah.
Last year, nobody really outside of Premier League did well. Premier League dominated the Champions League last year. And, well, does that mean that either these other leagues are going to want to change their style to compete in that league, or does that mean they're going to play for their league championship? And that's something to keep an eye on, because I think that those teams in the Serie A that adjusted their style of play played for making it to the Champions League, for stepping up within the league ranks, not necessarily to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
Because the teams that have traditionally won the Champions League from Serie A did play that defensive style.
Yeah.
And they played it really well in comparison to the other teams that they met up with.
Absolutely.
Well, like the national team was
Right.
kind of a reflection.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're seeing a change in that,
You are.
and that may be shaping
It might be. Dante, what do you think?
style of play.
Style of play. Do you think that-
Offensive, counterattack, defense. What do you think that Serie A is going to show?
I'm gonna say probably like offense / counterattack,
Okay.
because I mean they can be good at offense with the attackers they have spread throughout the teams, but like they don't really use that style of play yet. But if they actually unlock the actual potential of attacking, they could be good.
Yeah, I think so. And there's just those other teams that have to rely on the counterattack, that because they don't have enough money to spend on the top flight players, they're going to have to sit back and counterattack. So the league probably as a whole won't switch over to that. But you're right, Dante. I think that you'll see a mix of those two. That's good analysis.
And you pretty much see that in every league. Though.
Yeah.
It's teams that are just got to play defense.
Yeah.
They got to pack it all in because they just can't compete.
Well, everybody out there, I'm sorry I don't think we have enough time to go into a full Premier League segment, and that's not really necessarily our shtick. But because we have Dante with us, I want to just strap a little extra time here into this segment and ask Dante about his favorite team from the Premier League. And at the expense of Master Patsy, who is your favorite team in the Premier League?
City.
Manchester City. And you know what? When you're 9 years old and you started watching soccer for the last 3 or 4 years in the Premier League, that's the team. It's like when you're growing up watching baseball, you're going to see the Yankees. In our era, you watched either the Steelers or the Raiders because they were in the AFC Championship when we were young all the time.
All the time.
And when you watched baseball, the Dodgers and the Yankees were in the World Series all the time, just about. I mean, it seemed like they were always there.
I'm still a Yankees fan.
Of course you are. Yeah. So and we see with his age, Dante's age, if you're watching what's going on, City has put together a team. They're not all superstars, but they put together a team that just looks so darn good.
Yeah, they do.
And they play great style.
Great coach. They got
great
the best coach
style.
on the planet.
Yeah.
My favorite player is Kun Aguero.
Yeah. He's had some great seasons.
Another Argentine.
Good scoring guy.
Another Argentine.
They probably had a victory stolen from them last week. A lot of people are talking about the VAR.
Yeah, and I want to give it another week and see what happens, but it's probably something we should talk about is VAR.
What do you think?
I love VAR. I really do.
I like it. I love it in concept. I hate it in practice.
I love the practice. I love Bundesliga was the first to really implement it.
I think we should. Next week we should have a segment on it or something.
Let's do it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to talk about it. I know there's a lot of people upset with what happened to City last week. In the big scheme of things, I'm not too upset with it because it was week 2. But it's just like we talked about with La Liga. Liverpool is going to be playing hard all season for that championship. They lost out barely last year, 1 point. So they're going to go for that. That's their goal this year.
Yep.
Man City, and let's face it, Tottenham has a knock on them that they say they have an empty trophy case.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, they did.
But guess what? They played to a tie last week. Even if it was VAR assisted, they played to a tie with City.
Right.
And they've got talent. They've got talent all over the field.
Yeah, they do.
It's a question of whether they're going to actually break through.
And again, a good manager.
And a good manager in Pochettino. So, Dante, your team is keeping the mantle right now, but they've got a tough road ahead of them with probably Liverpool, Tottenham, and Man United this year.
Yep.
Let's face facts. Man United looks real good.
The only knock with United is David De Gea is 28 years old, and he's the oldest player on that side.
That's a good thing.
I think so.
I don't mean that as a knock, but what I'm saying is if you're expecting city level play,
you're not going to get it yet.
From a side who 28 is your oldest player.
What's Pogba? 26? 25? 27? Just turned 27 more or less, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I expect at 27 in football years, I expect him to mature this year.
I do too.
I think that you're going to see a different Paul Pogba in Premier League this year than you've seen in the past.
Yeah, I do. I think, and he's got a manager who's going to just loosen the reins and tell him to go ahead and go play.
Yep. With all that said, great season ahead in Premier League. We'll probably touch on it a little bit. How can you not? Great football. We got to acknowledge that. Dante will be back to talk about Manchester City. We got Manchester United here. We got somebody who's just all over the board with Premier League. I'll tell you, I'll reveal my favorite squad, which is sad, Newcastle United. But
nothing wrong with that. You and Ray Hudson. You and Ray Hudson. Go for it.
So Newcastle United has a long history of fun stuff throughout the Premier League history. Right now in the pits. Right now not spending money. Their fan base is very upset with their ownership. Rightly so. But I'm hoping for a turnaround. Always hopeful. So we'll see how that evolves. Dante.
Okay, so with Man City up against Tottenham, I mean, they did tie, but it was terrible. Tottenham.
Let's face it. City dominated that game.
They dominated. They had so many chances.
Tottenham had 2 shots on goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
2-all.
I don't know why, but I don't really like Tottenham. Just me. And I think Man United is going to do better this year, like you said.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I feel bad for Liverpool.
I don't.
Because their fans. You only hate them because of their fans.
No, I hate them because I'm a United fan.
I personally, you're right. When you said about your dad, yes. I don't like Liverpool because of the way
I
the fans
completely
treated.
agree.
The way they treated Loris Karius and the way they, they're a very passionate fan base, and I like passionate fan bases, but they border on being kind of ignorant. So
in Barca last year, you saw they were destroying the fountains.
Yeah.
And the thing is, probably my favorite player in Europe plays for them.
Yeah, Mo Salah.
Mo Salah.
Well,
I'm a huge Messi fan. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I mean, Messi can walk on water, but I
Salah's fantastic.
not necessarily on the pitch.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on the pitch.
Yeah. But Dante, you made a great point. You said you feel bad for that, but what is it about, right? You said it's not about the fans. It's about
the players.
Right.
It's about the players.
And I love
So what if the fans get angry? It's about the players. Like the players, they feel good when they win. Not the fans feel good when they win. But if they lose, what do you think the players feel? You're just making them even worse.
Right.
Talking bad about them.
That's a great point.
You know, like
That's a great point.
fans shouldn't matter to the players, but fans are disrespectful.
And sometimes they are. And sometimes the players feed off of the fans' energy, whether it's good or bad.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
So, any last words before we wrap up today?
The only thing, we've said it a few times, please subscribe, hit that like button, give us comments, give us feedback. The feedback we got last week was fantastic. I mean, it made me smile like you wouldn't believe. Whenever you sent me the text, I was like, did you see the comments? I was like, oh, this is so cool. So please give them back to us. Let us know what you think. Let us know, like Frank said, who you want us to talk about, who you want to interact with us. We're always here for you.
Thanks, Nick, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
There was awesome insight on Byron earlier, and thanks for all your contributions throughout all three segments. And please join us again when you can. I know you're going back to school and work and everything, so but as much as you can, we'd like to have you here. Master Patsy, as always, great segment.
Absolutely.
Dante, awesome, man.
Yeah, great job, dude.
All right, thanks
I
everybody.
know
Everybody, thank
I'm
you.
the best at
Thank you so
reporting soccer stuff. I know I'm the best. So
Ciao.
Nobody can compete.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Nobody can compete with me. I know I'm the best.